Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. How are we getting on? So it's Thursday and time for some more Fallout 76 news. And it's a little bit different this week. We're looking back over the Wild Appalachia update that we've been receiving bit by bit over the last 3 months. That's now come to a close, and Bethesda have given us a few stats through the usual Inside the Vault blog post to sort of review the events of the last few months, which is quite interesting. And it'd be nice to have a look at few highlights and a few bits and pieces from that. So, Wild Appalachia concludes. Welcome back to Inside the Vault. This week we're taking a look at how the Wasteland has evolved as Wild Appalachia comes to a close. Well, we're sharing a few stats we found intriguing as the Fallout 76 community dug into some of the features and content that we introduced in recent updates. With the release of patch 9.5 and the Project Paradise event earlier this week, our series of Wild Appalachia updates have come to an end. We've had an absolute blast conquering new questlines, events and locations with you over the last few months. We've also enjoyed watching the community get their hands on new features like vending machines, the purveyor, legendary exchange machines and the brewing system. We fixed a ton of bugs along the way and we couldn't have done it without your feedback and reports. We hope you'll keep sending your thoughts our way so we can continue rolling out fixes and making improvements that will make a difference in your everyday play. Wonderful. Wild Appalachia may be over, we're just getting started. We're going to keep releasing patches regularly, and we'll still have several major updates on the horizon for Fallout 76 in 2019. So yeah, we've got two significant sets of content updates coming over the rest of the year. We've got Nuclear Winter obviously coming up next, and the Wastelanders towards the end of the year. So, as mentioned in the roadmap, we're planning to roll out a new game mode with Nuclear Winter. Can't wait to see what's going on there. Send intrepid explorers into Vaults 94 and 96 and make major changes to the questline with Wastelanders. To the main questline specifically, so that should be interesting. Curious to see what that's going to involve, but that's at least 3 or 4 months off yet. Not until we get towards the autumn. Only Vaults 94 and 96 listed here, rather. They were the two other original Vaults, I think, added to the game. One at the top end, well, they're both in Savage Divide now that I think about it. One at the top end, one at the south end. But there's also another unmarked vault that's been added to the northwest of the forest region, which is Vault 50 something or other. There have been a few little hints dropped about that recently. There's a couple of bits and pieces in the game that you can check out and find out a little bit more about that. So, still not saying much on that, which is interesting. Curious to see where that one's going to go. I assume it will relate to Nuclear Winter, otherwise they probably won't be putting it in the game already. Interesting to see. Excited to continue this journey with you. We can't wait to share more details about what we have in store for Appalachia and the Fallout 76 community during our 5th annual Bethesda E3 showcase. Be sure to join us live when the show kicks off at 5:30 PM Pacific time, June 9th, by tuning in on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Mixer or Facebook Live. Plenty of options there, so yeah. Sunday, June 9th, I believe, 5:30 Pacific time, so will that be about 1 AM over here or something like that. Top of my head, so don't quote me on that. But yeah, I'll actually be away from home at that particular weekend, so I'll be watching probably on my phone, no doubt, but definitely will be keeping an eye out on that one. Looking forward to seeing what they've got for us. It's probably going to be our first opportunity to find out in detail what's coming with Nuclear Winter as well, and a little bit hopefully about Wastelanders too, so it'll be a very, very interesting time for Fallout 76 players. Now, we'd like to offer you a look at how you dived headfirst into some of the new content introduced with Wild Appalachia by sharing a few stats that we found fun and interesting, and we hope you do too. I found them quite interesting, I have to admit. So, the most crafted alcoholic brew. A Nuka Xion questline was fermentable beer, interestingly enough. I'm guessing it's reasonably easy to craft and has some pretty good effects to it, so that's apparently the most popular one. Not something I've dived into too much really once the initial quest was over, because I don't tend to use alcoholic beverages or chems or anything like that too much. Probably should in a way, but running around crafting little buffs all the time is not really the kind of gameplay I get the most out of, so that's why I don't tend to do it. So, Biv brought you all sorts of new beverages to Appalachia, but tossing back a cold brew on a hot Appalachian afternoon just can't be beat. So yeah. Interesting. I would have expected it to be something a little stronger, but apparently it's the fermentable beer. Deaths to imposter sheep squatches, 1,967,657. Obviously that's gone up since then, but that's a lot of runs through the encrypted event. Quite cool. I'm curious how many of the real sheep squatches have been killed as well. Yeah, that's an awful lot of times that event's been run. It doesn't, well, to me, it doesn't feel like it comes up all that often, really. Well, I've only run it 4 or 5 times, maybe, at most. So, interesting. To admit, jumping on the pylons, as I mentioned down there, is something I'm often reluctant to do. I tend to find I die very, very quickly, and nobody's in a rush to stim me, so... A little bit frustrating, but... Fun event, nonetheless, and there's some cool rewards. I'm wearing the hat, which is actually the simplest reward to get their hands on, but... Wearing that at the moment and having a lot of fun with my outfit on that one. So, one of the cooler elements, the ProSnap Deluxe camera, which has created some entertaining moments on stream, I have to admit. It's a very handy thing to have, and it's quite a convenient way of getting photographs in awkward situations. Messing around with photo mode is not always the simplest thing to do. It takes a bit of time, so being able to just pull the camera out and snap is handy. So we've got 5,846,206 photos taken with the ProSnap Deluxe. ProSnap Deluxe, let's try and put those letters in the right order. Which is, yeah, that's quite a lot. I've had a bit more time on that one, so not too surprised, but it's pretty impressive to see that many photos being taken. Interesting in a sense, because the next few stats are similarly high numbers, but with less time and more difficult things to get hold of, so... Interesting insight into the things people prioritise, which is quite cool. Legendary items. So legendary items scrapped for script, 5,688,155. Almost as many as photographs we've had taken, and the thing's only been available for, what, 2 weeks? 2.5 weeks? Something like that? A lot of legendaries turned in. Interesting that obviously there's a huge focus on that because that's how you get the most powerful items in the game, so not surprising in a way, but it's a big number in a short space of time. Script exchange for legendaries, 44,907,427 script turned in for legendaries. Purveyor's doing a roaring trade then. Interesting. I know there's been some mixed responses, mostly focusing on the fact that it's a random roll for your legendary effect. Which, I mean, I understand why it is frustrating, and I understand why Bethesda have done it as well. You just grab the thing you want, then the purveyor becomes less relevant very, very quickly. And it also helps to maintain economy, and actually supports the player vending side of things as well. So if you've got stuff you don't want, you can either script it, or if it's something that's reasonably good but you still don't want it, then you can try and sell it. So certainly helps keep that economy a bit more alive, which is very, very cool. So, yeah, despite the frustration, I do understand it from Bethesda's perspective as well. And yeah, I don't think I'm too upset about it. I mean, it'd be nice to have a slightly more reliable rate of return on it, but we'll get there. Kept the purveyor incredibly busy since she opened shop last week. Where did she get all those legendary items from anyway? So... Camp vendor items sold so far, the top 10 best-selling items. Items that have been purchased by the most individual transactions. Okay. So top of the list, fusion cores, interestingly, sell very, very well. Something for me to bear in mind. Then shotgun shells, which kind of surprises me. I'm guessing that's because the plastic used in them is a little bit harder to come by than just plain old steel and lead. Gunpowder. Yeah, that's interesting. Stim packs are not particularly surprising at all. Seeing those at the top is of no surprise. Something I'm intending to start selling fairly soon. 5.56 rounds. That's again interesting. I think for anybody using an automatic assault rifle or handmade, obviously that's your ammunition of choice. So go through it very, very quickly, and keeping your stock up is quite difficult. So I can see why that sells. 45 does surprise me though. That's really quite easy to come by, so I'm very, very surprised to see so much of that selling. Marsupial serum, interesting. Realised that would go as well. I'm not surprised it does sell, but that much? Quite cool. 308 rounds, again, similar to the 5.56, it's relatively difficult to come by. Relatively rare. Mutton meat pie is a recipe for the most commonly sold plan, basically. They're only available from, I believe, the real sheep squatch. So it's a challenging fight at the best of times, especially if you go at it solo, unless you're really well equipped for it. So it's not that surprising to see that up there, I suppose. Plus it's a relatively new item too. Disease cures, yeah, I certainly go through a fair few of those. I should keep an eye out for how to craft those, actually. And loose screws. I might start selling more screws if it's going to sell that well. So yeah, Vending machines made trading easier than ever and inspired tons of new camp designs. They certainly did. Have a look at the in-demand items you might want to consider adding to your shop. Yeah, so I think player vending has definitely been the most successful single update of the entirety of Wild Appalachia, and it's had the biggest impact. It's brought the wasteland to life in a lot of ways, which is really, really cool. Or it could be, you could sometimes go entire play sessions without seeing another player, and now you'll get a wave multiple times in a play session. People will be dropping in and out of your camp, and it's created a much more friendly, bustling environment. Much more the feel you'd get if Vault emptied itself out into the immediate region around it. You'd see more of the Vault dwellers more often. I think the game initially gave you that vibe of. That's pretty cool. I'm quite happy to see that. Definitely my favourite of the updates, I think. So, thank you for your feedback. Last week we asked you to tell us what you'd like to see covered as we expand on the types of content we feature in future editions of Inside the Vault. First, we'd like to thank you for sharing your thoughts with us on these articles. We're still compiling your feedback, but you've already helped us identify several areas that we can start including going forward. There's additional thoughts from the dev team about changes we make to the game, deeper insights into some of the existing features and systems, community and player highlights, and more. So, we should hopefully be finding out a little bit more about the inner workings and the ideas behind the things that Bethesda are putting into the game, which is definitely very interesting. Understanding their decision-making process is something that I, for one, would be very interested in. Keep an eye out for these topics in Inside the Vault over the weeks to come. So there will be more news to come. It'll just not be so much focused, for at least for a few weeks, on the big updates and changes to the game. At least not until the winter drops, which I will imagine we'll get the details on the 9th, was it? Yeah, the 9th of July at E3. I'm very much looking forward to. So yeah, interesting look back over Wild Appalachia. I'd love to hear what you guys enjoyed and perhaps what you're less keen on, and your reactions to the first run of expansions for Fallout 76. Obviously, this is just the first run. Once they've got their eye in and got a little bit of practice, figured out how this works, hopefully subsequent expansions will go a little more smoothly and be pretty interesting. So that should be quite cool. So, yeah, do let me know your thoughts down below. Hopefully we're going to tackle the last part of Wild Appalachia tonight. We didn't unfortunately manage to pull that off today. The new Project Paradise event is something I'm definitely wanting to take a look at. Just need to time it so I can get in there with other people rather than having a repeat of the Scorched Beast Queen incident, shall we say. But yeah, that should be fun. So I do hope you'll stop by and catch the stream this evening. And of course we've got some more Rage 2 stuff coming up over the weekend more or less as well, so that should be fun. For now, thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. So there's social media links down in the description, should be popping up on screen about now as well. Catch up with me over there. Live streams later on this evening and over the next few days as well, so I hope you drop by. Thank you very much for watching, and I will be speaking to you all very, very soon.